Y2K spells the beginning of the end for Luke Chambers as we get our first glimpse at the events leading up to his disappearance. In episode 7, Luke and Megan have their first kiss. The truth about Luke kissing Isabella comes out, and Megan kisses her scholarship goodbye as she violated the morality clause. We start off in summer 1999, where the girls are waking up after Luke's party. Megan tells Isabella how Luke ran away to puke when they were having a moment and asks what to do now. Isabella says, "You just pretend it never happened. One day, when the time is right, the universe will give you a do-over." Interesting perspective, Isabella. They go downstairs to clean up from the party when Luke shows up and Isabella puts him to work. Once they're finished cleaning, Luke mentions he needs to head out to lock up the cabin before the storm, and Isabella suggests that Megan goes along to help. While at the cabin, Megan and Luke spend some time reminiscing and playing a game, running through the woods like they did when they were kids, when Luke runs into Ned, who is upset with him for crossing onto his property, but fixes the feedback on his walkie-talkie and warns him to stay on his side of the line. The two meet up at the dock, where they get that do-over Isabella mentioned, and have another moment before sharing their first kiss. We leave the start of their relationship to watch as it starts to fall apart in winter 1999, the morning of the New Year's Eve Y2K party. At the house, Isabella excitedly asks Megan if she's ready to party like the world's going to end, and Megan is annoyed with everybody saying that. She asks Isabella how the plunge was, and Isabella chooses not to tell her about the kiss, believing Luke just made a mistake and not wanting to ruin their relationship. Isabella tries to pivot the conversation to New Year's resolutions, saying she wants to start fresh, put the last year behind her, and be less of a slob, to which Megan retorts, "You do like it messy, don't you?" Isabella once again lets Megan's mistreatment slide and leaves her be. Megan meets up with Luke to shop for party supplies, where she asks him what he thinks Isabella was after with the kiss. He shit-talks Isabella, saying she's possessive and jealous and happiest when she gets to swoop in and comfort Megan when she and Luke are in a rough place. He takes it a step further, suggesting Isabella might be trying to break them up so she can have Megan all to herself. Hey, where have I heard that before?
You kill Luke so you could have Megan all to yourself?
Outside the store, Megan is loading the car when Ned sees her wearing a party hat, and believing that real irreversible disaster is hours away, he gets incredibly aggressive with her for taking the new year so lightly. He grabs her, which prompts an altercation with Luke, who stands up for Megan and gets right in Ned's face. Ned tells Luke he's a little loser that's getting in the way of Megan's future, so Luke shoves him and Ned gives it right back, pinning him against the car, and threatens that he's going to get a harsh wake-up call. Megan and Luke head back to the house. Megan's frustrated with how Luke reacted and shaken because she's never seen Ned like that. Luke finds out that Tim can no longer host the party, so he plans to relocate to the cannery that his dad just bought. Megan isn't super into the idea and wants to stay home since she's not feeling well, but Luke convinces her and heads to his dad's office to steal the keys for the cannery, where he gets an earful from his dad about the fight in the parking lot, even though he actually wasn't in the wrong in that particular moment. While Luke's getting the keys from Brent, Megan's taking the pregnancy test Isabella mentioned in a previous episode, finding it positive before heading out to meet Luke at the party. Megan and Luke are good until Isabella shows up and Megan finally asks her if there's something she wants to tell her. Megan tells her what Luke said, and Isabella explains that he kissed her. And of course, Megan is mad at her, like she always is for everything. And Isabella calls her out for not trusting her and always siding with Luke. Megan goes looking for Luke and finds him outside, drunkenly talking himself up to the guys who harassed Isabella at the plunge, saying he's getting with both Megan and Isabella as practice for college. Megan runs off to find Isabella, apologizing and saying she was right. Isabella suggests they leave the party and still have a good time, just the two of them, but Megan insists on staying as she wants to get payback and make Luke wish he had never met them. So Megan meets up with Luke just before midnight, playing it cool and kissing him in front of his dirtbag friends before counting down to the new year and whisking Luke off to the cabin to celebrate, just the two of them. But will it be just the two of them? Something tells me Isabella is there waiting for them. Before we can get to clues and theories, we have to do a quick recap of summer 2000. Megan's lawyer shows up unexpectedly, telling her that they have to get to the police station, where she is officially charged with misdemeanor fraud for copying the watermark from the DMV's website. It turns out Jeff got caught using his fake ID, and while he tried to take responsibility, he couldn't explain how he replicated the watermark and had to give up Megan, who is now losing her scholarship since Principal Byers had to report the charge to UW, and they are rescinding her scholarship for violating the honor clause. Meanwhile, Steve's PI has found out about Megan hacking into websites, stealing information to sell to interested buyers, and worse than that, she's been working with Ned. Steve goes off about Ned and his lawsuits, though I suspect his lawsuits are entirely valid, and suggests to Brent that Ned is the one that killed Luke. Brent, believing his father about Ned, goes to warn Megan about him, telling her that Ned's fight with Luke wasn't his first. He was fired from his last job for stealing IP and assaulted his boss, putting him in the hospital. Brent advises Megan to stay far away from him, so she immediately goes to visit him. First, she asks if he can hack into the court system to get rid of the charge, but he can't because there's already a paper trail. Then she brings up Steve's investigation of him and what Brent alleged about his past, causing Ned to yell out that you can't steal what was yours to begin with, leading me to believe that the company tried to claim ownership over IP that Ned created. He heads to his computer bunker, planning to start digging into Steve's life, when Megan sees Steve's car on the security cameras and rushes out the back while Ned arms himself and heads to confront Steve out front. Steve accuses Ned of killing Luke, saying he's going to prove it. And that is where we leave summer of 2000. So what did we learn this episode? First, I've suspected that Ned is autistic or on the spectrum for a while, and this episode solidified that for me. The town thinks he's creepy, but Megan understands that he's just a little different. We found out the fight between Luke and Ned happened because Ned was wound up about what he believed was an imminent catastrophe and got very aggressive towards Megan, grabbing her and getting in her face. Not okay, though Megan herself is surprised by it because she's never seen him act that way and it seemingly never happens again. I'm disappointed to have been wrong about Ned confronting Luke to defend Megan, but the scene does still involve Ned talking about Megan's future and how Luke is ruining it. Luke was right to stand up for Megan, which makes it frustrating that both she and his father are upset with him for doing so. Next, we find out that the fraud charge was in fact related to the fake IDs, specifically Megan's role in hacking the DMV to get the watermark, as told to the police by Jeff. The charge loses Megan her scholarship, which could mean that she's out for blood in the summer 2000 timeline going forward. Megan does learn the truth about Luke kissing Isabella when she overhears him talking to Tim and, Eric, I think. She makes up with Isabella, planning to take Luke to the cabin for revenge, just as I predicted, which leads me into theories. The promo for the next episode shows Megan at the cabin with Luke, bringing out some rope, and once again we see this shot of a camera. I'm pretty confident that Megan and Isabella drug Luke, though I think Isabella set up the cabin, drugged Luke's drink, and hid away until Megan tied up Luke so they could catch him off guard when they confronted him about his lie. The night could go down a few different ways. 1. Megan could be suggesting to Luke that they make a sex tape, wanting to tie him up to spice things up. 2. Megan could bring up the idea of a threesome with Isabella, playing into what she overheard Luke and the guys talking about at the party. Or 3, Megan brings out the rope first and doesn't bring out the camera until after Luke is tied down. As for what exactly the revenge is, I don't want to theorize because I'm sick of being wrong. But I do think the night involves drugging Luke, tying him down, making some kind of tape, and leaving him there. Something the girls would be in major trouble for even if they weren't involved in his death. When they return to the cabin in the morning, they're surprised to find that Luke is gone. Maybe he's left the note and they do believe he ran away, coming up with the lie that it was a planned runaway to avoid raising suspicion about themselves. In summer of 1999, Megan recalls a story where she and Brent scared Luke so bad that he ran outside into the water. This could be setting up the idea that Luke breaks loose from the ropes and runs through the woods disoriented before ending up in the water and drowning accidentally. Or it could just be a trick so they can later surprise us with the reveal that Luke jumped into the water on purpose, similar to what happened with Lisa. I was expecting that Megan would see something on the cameras at Ned's house, causing her to run outside shaken by what she saw. That didn't happen, but I do think we'll revisit these cameras in a later episode, and there will be something recorded helping us piece together what happened to Luke while the girls were gone. I'm still waiting to find out what Megan told Debbie and what Parker told the sheriff, but it seems these plot lines were put on hold for this episode. Hopefully not abandoned entirely, because if Parker does not play a bigger role in this story, I will pitch a fit. We only have 3 episodes left, so things are really going to ramp up in these next few episodes, but in the meantime, I need to know your theories. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking, who you're still suspicious of, and what your biggest questions are that you still need answers for. Be sure to like and subscribe. Please and thank you. Bye.